The first snowflakes started falling as my family returned home for the holiday break. But the moment we arrived, everyone's face darkened. We couldn't believe what we saw. Wild hogs had left their marks everywhere, wreaking havoc. How could we just stand by? That very night, a bold decision was made. We would hunt down every last hog. This trip would be full of challenges. What would be the final outcome? Come along and watch. Before dawn broke, we were already deep in the forest, tracking devices activated, eyes scanning every direction, hunting for our targets. With decades of experience, it didn't take long to find them. Dogs barked loudly, a sign they had driven the prey into the right spot. Suddenly, a massive dark shape charged out of the bushes. I quickly adjusted my scope. The gunshot cracked. The target dropped before it could reach me. But it wasn't completely down yet. Seizing the moment, I squeezed the trigger again. This significant threat was neutralized, a sharp opening to what promised to be a challenging day of hunting. As the snow began to fall, movement and visibility improved. From the top of a hill, I scanned the terrain. Then, the target appeared. Holding my breath, I tracked its path. The barrel was locked on. Waiting for it to step into an open shot, I pulled the trigger. The shot echoed. The marauder's life ended there. Without the aid of a scope at that distance, a clean shot like this would have been almost impossible. On the other side, Jack was lining up impressive long-range shots. Against the white snowy background, targets moved unknowingly as he patiently waited in ambush. With sharp skills and quick thinking, every target fell with a single precise shot. The gunfire spooked the wild hogs. From the high hillside, I watched shadows desperately trying to flee into the deep forest. But once they're in sight, running is futile. Gun ready, I anticipated their route. Squeezing the trigger, a large shadow collapsed in the snow. I breathed a sigh of relief. If it had escaped, it would have caused more damage. Nearby, my teammate was quickly taking down other targets. The biting wind grew stronger as temperatures dropped. To conserve energy, we moved to lower slopes. Guided by the dog's barks, we quickly pinpointed the prey's location. Eyes peeled toward the sound, palms sweating on the rifle grip. A dark shape appeared, slowly moving through the snowy field. A sharp shot rang out, taking down the hog instantly. Others were controlled soon after. In the afternoon, after receiving word of new targets, our team hurried to the snow-covered hillside. The deep snow worked in our favor, making it easier to track and hunt these pests. At that moment, a dark figure appeared. Without hesitation, fire! Headshots! The bullet found its mark, bringing the target down immediately. As the sun set, exhaustion was setting in for all of us, but the hogs seemed relentless. Before me, a long line of wild hogs appeared in large numbers. How could we let them run free? Locking onto the first target, I squeezed the trigger. The bullet flew. dropping one shadowed beast. The rest scattered into the night. The message reached Jack swiftly. He took position, intercepting the hog's path. Soon, the target appeared. With a decisive shot, he ended today's threat. Not everyone has the courage to face the bone-chilling cold, where every breath that leaves your mouth turns to mist. But for wild boar hunters, this is a familiar battlefield. It's not just a confrontation with a cunning prey, but a battle with the very limits of one's own endurance. It demands unwavering determination, a courageous spirit forged through years of experience. Join us on today's snow hunt to witness heart-stopping moments where the line between hunter and prey is drawn in the blink of an eye. David's team was assigned to guard the southern forest, and the bone-chilling cold today was both a challenge and a promise of a thrilling hunt. Following the familiar tracks of the wild boars, he spotted a dark figure looming ahead. Then, it suddenly stopped, pivoting 180 degrees as if sensing danger. A single moment of hesitation would mean losing the prey, and David would never allow himself to make that mistake. Not far off, James' team lay in ambush by the pine forest. With the eyes of a seasoned hunter, he anticipated the boar's movements, pinpointing where it might appear. And when it came into view, the wild boar moved cautiously, weaving through the trees. But, in a moment of inattention, a single misstep into a deadly gap was all it took for James to force it to pay the ultimate price of escape. We pushed deeper into the forest, the thick snow making movement more difficult, but we never faltered. From a distance, the wild boar charged out, moving as fast as lightning. Before I could even get a clear shot, Thomas' bullet had already pinned it to the snow, just as it made a break for the open space. No more steps, no more chance to escape. A perfect read of the situation, and a flawless kill down to the last centimeter. Do you agree? As the sunset made way for the darkness, a new battle began. After resting and refueling, we quickly hopped into the vehicle, armed with the latest night hunting gear, and headed towards the fields where the wild boars had caused the most damage during the day. The world through the scope is an eerie painting of shadowy figures. A whole herd of wild boars, completely unaware that they're being watched from afar. The infrared reticle locks onto the largest creature, the one calmly enjoying its meal. No warning, just a sharp crack of the rifle, sending the massive beast crashing to the ground, restoring peace to the field. The silence didn't last long before James' team received word of a target near the local cattle pen. This was a threat that needed to be dealt with immediately. James quickly locked onto the leader of the pack, the troublemaker. However, its thick hide proved to be a challenge, causing the beast to stagger but not fall. Instead, it bolted in a frantic escape. For the safety of the people, James was determined to hunt it down to the very end. It was late into the night, and that cunning boar had led us straight to its herd. This was the final kill before heading back. The way James locked onto the leader's head and took it down with a single shot showed the team who the real sharpshooter was. As the herd scattered, a volley of follow-up shots echoed, driven by the determination to capture as many as possible. It marked the end of a long, challenging day, but this conclusion couldn't have been any more perfect. A day of hunting in Oklahoma came to an end, a journey that spanned from the snow-covered forests to the vast, foggy fields of the night. For us, this wasn't just a hunt, it was a mission to bring peace to the farmers, to protect crops and livestock from the devastation caused by wild boars. But tomorrow's hunt promises to be even more intense. Hit that follow button and join us as we hold our breath through the heart-pounding moments yet to come. Thousands of hectares of farmland in Bulgaria are being ravaged by wild boars, causing millions of dollars in damage. Crops are destroyed, livelihoods are shaken, and fear is spreading fast across the region. In the bone-chilling cold, Finn and his hunting team push deep into the frozen forest where every step forward could mean life or death. Will they manage to take the shot before the beast vanishes into the wilderness? Get ready for the most intense, heart-pounding moments of this wild boar hunt. Morning light pierces through the thick blanket of snow covering the forests of Bulgaria. Finn's hunting team moves in silence, every step carefully calculated. The air is tight with tension, every sense locked in. Suddenly, the hounds break the silence. The prey has been found. Finn wastes no time, moving swiftly toward the signal. Through the scope, the wild boar comes into full view. Calm and focused, he lines up the shot. Squeeze! The gun cracks through the cold air. The boar stumbles, takes a few shaky steps, then collapses into the snow. A flawless takedown thanks to perfect teamwork with the dogs. In a hunt like this, support isn't optional, it's everything. Wasting no time, the team pushes deeper into the forest. Every step is steady, nothing escapes their watchful eyes. Suddenly, A dark blur flashes across their line of sight. A single gunshot cracks the silence. Fast, clean, and deadly accurate. The boar drops on the spot. In that split second, Finn showcases unmatched precision, flawless instincts, perfect execution. As the last light of day fades and the temperature drops sharply, the hunting team quietly begins to pull back toward the rendezvous point, believing the chase is over. But then, Finn's sharp eyes catch a subtle movement in the distance. He crouches low, steady hands on the trigger. A single shot rings out. The boar drops silently. No thrashing, no sound, just stillness. Another sliver of peace restored to this land. Quiet but relentless. The snow had begun to melt after days of eerie stillness, revealing the cold, damp earth beneath. On the western hillside, Finn's team moved in silently, taking up their planned positions. 10 minutes passed. Finn remained razor-focused, eyes locked onto every twitch, every flicker of movement. Then, just beyond the trees, a dark figure slipped into view. Instinct took over. His fingers squeezed the trigger with precision. The dry crack of the rifle shattered the silence. The boar collapsed instantly, never even knowing what hit it. It paid the price for the ruined crops and the chaos it brought to this land. His eyes locked onto a group of wild boars quietly concealed in the underbrush. With lightning-fast reflexes and zero hesitation, he adjusted his rifle, took aim, and squeezed the trigger. One boar dropped instantly, the rest scattered in a frenzy. Without missing a beat, Finn signaled his team a new wave of the hunt was already underway. Moments later, the hounds let out a sharp cry. The target had been spotted. James surged forward, eyes locked with unwavering focus. The critical moment arrived in a flash. One clean, decisive shot, dead on target. Almost simultaneously, signals lit up from other positions. One after another, shots rang out, silencing the danger for good. The battle ended as quickly as it began, restoring peace to the land. For now, the people could rest easy, at least this time. This hunt has come to an end. The destroyers of the harvest have finally been stopped. Victory didn't belong to the brave marksmen alone, but was the result of seamless coordination between local farmers, authorities, and the unshakable brotherhood within our team. Once again, the hunters spoke up at the right moment, and this time, they came out on top. We sincerely thank the local community and authorities for their unwavering support, trust, and partnership throughout this journey.
Not only foraging for food, wild boars also spread terror across crops and people's lives. Lurking in harsh conditions, they challenge every human limit. But whether it's bone-chilling cold or scorching heat, the hunters grip their rifles tightly, steadfastly advancing into the battlefield, where only grit determines survival. Will they succeed in taking down these beasts? Heart-pounding moments are about to unfold, and don't forget to watch until the end to pick the most unforgettable hunt. In sub-zero cold, Nick's hunting team presses forward through the snowy mountains of France, swiftly taking their assigned positions. Amid the snow-covered forest, a hunter keenly tracks every movement behind the dense trees. Suddenly, a large herd of wild boars appears, moving in an orderly line. Without hesitation, he locks onto the largest, fattest one and pulls the trigger. The target drops instantly, and the herd scatters in panic. The next shot only manages to take down the last boar before the rest vanish into the deep forest. A swift, cold-blooded opening shot kicks off today's challenging hunt. The tracking signal pinpoints the wild boar's location, and Nick immediately checks their direction of movement before leading the team straight to the ambush point. As expected, the herd starts to emerge from the snow-covered bushes. Gunshots ring out almost simultaneously, taking down the one. On the white snow, only their scattered carcasses remain. A precise operation, leaving no chance for escape. At another position, a hunter spots the silhouette of a wild boar lurking among the trees. Not giving it a chance to escape, a bullet strikes the beast, and it collapses instantly. Moments later, gunfire erupts from other positions, signaling more victories for the team. All threats from the monstrous herd are swiftly eliminated, restoring silence to the harsh, snowy mountains. A chase on the Moroccan hillside is reaching its climax. The hunting team arrived early, spreading out to surround the hill. The pack of hunting dogs immediately scatters to track down traces of the prey. In less than 10 minutes, a signal sounds, and moments later, a wild boar darts past Henry's line of sight. Without hesitation, a barrage of gunfire erupts, cutting off the bull's escape route. Continuing to follow the remaining tracks, Henry moves along the hillside, peering intently through his binoculars. Suddenly, a large, fat wild boar appears, weaving through the bushes on the opposite side. Waiting for its body to fully emerge from the foliage, Henry swiftly pulls the trigger. The gunshot echoes, and the boar collapses on the spot, unable to take another step. Another victory is claimed, and a formidable threat is eliminated. At another spot on the hillside, a hunter suddenly spots a wild boar charging straight toward him. Just as it bursts through the bushes ahead, the gunshot rings out almost simultaneously. The clean, precise shot brings the beast down before it can escape. The threat to crops and the safety of the locals has been completely neutralized.
Despite treacherous terrain or harsh conditions, ferocious wild boars with their staggering reproduction rates are becoming a major threat. They sweep through, destroying crops, tearing up the land, and endangering human and livestock lives. Today, the hunters are ready to set out, determined to stop this monstrous horde. Fierce battles and heart-pounding encounters lie ahead. Do they have the courage to quell this wild beast uprising? Follow along right now. Amid the sub-zero chill of the Romanian mountains, a fierce battle was unfolding. At this moment, Finn's hunting team had surrounded and secured key positions where they predicted wild boars would appear. Not long after, Leon kicked off the first ambush. Through his binoculars, he spotted a wild boar weaving through dense trees. As it stepped into an open clearing, a shot was fired instantly. The boar collapsed immediately, unable to resist. A decisive shot marked the start of today's battle. Continuing to follow the tracks left in the snow, Leon and his team pressed forward. From a distance, a familiar silhouette quickly appeared, lurking among the dry bushes. Choosing a strategic position and angle, he pulled the trigger. A series of shots rang out, cutting off the beast's escape route. Thus ended a formidable threat in the frigid mountain wilderness. In another corner, Finn quietly tracked through the snow-covered hills. Suddenly, from behind the bushes, a dark-looking figure emerged. Without hesitation, gunshots rang out in rapid succession. The beast finally lay still, unable to take another step. Hunting in the snow is a relentless battle between the hunter and harsh nature, but each shot fired is a declaration to maintain peace for this land. Leaving the icy, snow-covered mountains behind, we head to a forest in Turkey, where Kevin's hunting team arrived early. Upon reaching the area, they swiftly took their pre-assigned positions. 15 minutes passed when a sharpshooter, quietly observing, suddenly spotted a wild boar darting past like an arrow. Acting on instinct, he immediately pulled the trigger. A single precise shot stopped any chance of the boar's escape. Another threat was eliminated, cleanly and decisively. At the same moment, deep within the forest, a tense confrontation unfolded between Kevin and a massive wild boar. The familiar barks of the hunting dogs echoed, and Kevin and his team immediately sprang into action. Right before their eyes, the monstrous beast appeared. The instant they met, it charged furiously straight at Kevin. Without a hint of panic, he pulled the trigger. The shot halted the attack in the critical moment. Truly heart-stopping. A mere second later, and Kevin might not have been the one in control. In another corner, a sharpshooter in a concealed position quickly spotted a wild boar attempting to flee. Without hesitation, a gunshot rang out, and like a scene from a perfect film, the boar collapsed behind a tree. Before he could even lower his rifle, another boar charged forward. With a single pull shot, it too fell motionless on the icy ground. The reign of terror these creatures had inflicted on the forest was brought to an end.
Oh!